Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to join me. I really appreciate it. All right, so buckle in. We have about 40 minutes or so loosely to get to know one another. So I know that in this particular video, I'm not feeling it at all because, well, if you didn't know, my phone is cracked. And so let's just start from the beginning, right? Because I feel like after making 750 videos, you feel me, that like as new people come along, you might be interested in what all those other videos are about. So I definitely encourage anybody and everybody who's just first time here on the channel to check out all of the other videos that I've cataloged in the last few months. It's been an interesting ride, but regardless, I'm here 4 times a day and have been for, some might say, far too long. But I'm doing something. This is a social experiment. I am my own guinea pig. That actually was one of the acronyms I used in the titles for some of these shows that I started to do. And the show has definitely evolved, right? And it also hasn't. I think that's the joy of growing up, is that you don't ever really have to change. You just got to be a decent person and not be like, I don't know, I'm done with the political jokes. So I've promised myself that for the next 40 minutes, I'm not going to talk about politics, other than, I guess, just how I've brought them up now. But regardless, and it's not like this is a politically charged show. I mean, it is kind of a big deal that I'm a social capitalist, and it is kind of a big deal, moreover, that I hope to be a place where I have the opportunity to serve all of you lovely folks out there in the United States. And so, I mean, I just take this time to get to know myself so much as staying out of trouble, as well as talking about all of the cool things that we talk about here on the channel. And so, I guess we're talking about grandparents tonight, all right? And so, I was gonna, the next video, we're actually gonna talk about my journey from last year to now, specifically addiction, you feel me? But right now I'm talking about grandparents. And so it's, I think, like November 1st or something, you feel me? And it's been more than a year since my grandma's passed. And so I'm 37 years old. I was raised by both my mother and my father. They're still married, they're still together. My mom was 16 when she had me, and my father was 15. So there's about as much age difference between myself and my parents as there is myself and my youngest sister. Hello, Marie. So, I live an interesting life, right? And I'm very grateful that my parents have had the experience they've had in their life and the opportunities they've had to, stay in a relationship that long. And I'm the oldest of five, so um, yeah, here we are. And I say that because like between the two of my parents, I knew all of my grandparents, even though both of my parents are the youngest of like 6 and 7, I think, respectively, with my mother. And so they were very large families, you feel me? And they were both the youngest of these large families. So I am the oldest of the youngest parents that were a part of a large family here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? And so my grandfather is from Bernalillo, my grandmother is from Tucumcari, and that about sums up the most of all of what I've been presented with in my information as it concerns my family. Now, I knew all my grandparents, right? So I grew up with them. I grew up with my grandma, my grandpa, my grandma Chavez, my grandpa Chavez, my grandma Guillen, my grandpa Guillen. I never called my grandpa Guillen grandpa. He actually always I always had to call him David. And that was real interesting, because I just never called him grandpa. And so that was always fun. He was always a fun guy. I miss him. He passed away, I think, in 2010 or 2011, somewhere around there. At that particular time in my life, I was in my early 20s, and not talking to my grandparents as much as I normally would have. I think I had just got off into college, and I grew up with my grandpa at the dialysis clinic. You know what I mean? So like, he definitely was a very to this day, I'd say that my grandpa has been the biggest influence in my own life ever. The guy was a remarkable dude, and he worked real hard, and he was a very honest guy, you know. And I think that's what I liked about him most was his honesty, you know. Even if you didn't like what he said, most of the time the guy was right on point. You feel me? And so, shout out to my grandpa, you know. And I already made a video about him, but so I knew so he passed away, right? My grandma passed away last year, my birthday. That was um, her husband, my grandpa again. And so now I have my grandma Chavez passed away when I was just getting into college as well. And that's my mother's mom. And she was an awesome lady. She actually owned a restaurant for like 2 decades here in Albuquerque. And so, yeah, they were, and it was a successful restaurant. My grandma was a good cook, and she was a good business lady, and she lived a remarkable life. She had like a lot of children and traveled a lot. And my mom's family is from Denver, so all of my family biologically is somewhere from here to Denver, you know? And I'm right at the tip, the most southern part tip, like right here on the last exit off of I-25 going north into Bernalillo and Santa Fe and stuff like that. So, grandparents, you know, are important. And I feel like, if you have an opportunity to be close to your grandparents, I think, you know, you should take that opportunity. And if you're, more importantly, right, because I'm not talking to preteens here, you feel me? I feel like I want to be talking and have this message conveyed on over to adults. And it's sort of like, if you're middle aged or if you're in your early 20s, you feel me? Like, I think one of the very few regrets I have was not following through. I took my grandparents for granted. You feel me? Like I always assumed they'd be around. And that was very selfish thinking of me because I really did not spend as much time with them that I should have, that I could have, you know? I mean, in my early 20s, instead of, you know, traveling the country and stuff, I really feel like I should have um paid a little bit more attention, you know, to my grandparents specifically, because your grandparents aren't always going to be around. You feel me? So if like you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, and you still have an opportunity to have any kind of a relationship with your grandparents, I definitely take it. You know what I mean? The old guys, as much as I'm hating on boomers and the quiet generation, our families are very unique to ourselves, and I think it's important that if you have a healthy relationship or if you can maintain a healthy relationship. And I think what's funny with families, and I think this in particular, is that in the Western world, in a capitalist world, I think it's difficult being, you know, a man here as it concerns the nuclear family, because all that means is being able to provide financial security, right? It's not just being able to put your boots on and go hunt down a deer. I mean, I'm sure that all of the places you used to even be able to do that in is just little to non-existent, you know. And so it's just, it's tough, you know, the idea of having a perfect family and having grandparents around. I think at the end of the day, that all just simply costs money. And I feel like a lot of us base our relationships off of grudges that we hold on people because of things like money and family and stuff. And that's, it's weird, it bothers me, right? Because I mean, technically, you know, the people that you love, there should not be a price tag on that. You feel me? I mean, business is business. You can borrow money from people that are close to you, but like, you know, pay them back, obviously. I mean, that's, it's just, it's interesting how people, again, like, don't talk to their parents or their grandparents, you know, over things like that and stuff, or it's because of something else. But then in the end, it really is being able to, you know, provide for all of the people that you've helped give birth to and all of these things. And I, you know, I get that and stuff. So I'm just saying that it's important to be really close to your grandparents because, you know, they're not going to be around forever. And I think we can learn a lot from those old folks. You feel me? I know that I learned more from my grandparents than I have learned from anybody else. And I think it's interesting because, you know, they were obviously smart people, right? But they just were decent, honest people. And you don't have to be a brilliant, ingenious person to just have basic common sense and treat people well. You feel me? Like, and so I kind of learned that, I kind of learned it doesn't matter what you have in the bank or what you're wearing on your back. I mean, truly, truly, and I know it's corny, you feel me, but it is the truth. Like, a person is valued. I think a person should place their value on their character. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that, again, I have learned from my grandparents, and I want everyone out there to have healthy relationships with all of the people that are in their life. Moreover, if you got your grandma and grandpa around, definitely try to involve them, right? Try to involve them as much as it may or may not hurt. You feel me? I think even in retrospect, as I give some of this advice years after I've had my first midlife crisis that completely, destroyed any sort of like near kind of future success that I'd have, hence the whole unemployed, being in my middle age 30s, going on 40, not having a job, owing somebody a lot of money. You feel me? I mean, I hope that you guys have a lovely night, and I hope that you guys really, with the grandparents and stuff, I hope that like you value that relationship and as what it is. So, yeah. Bye.